Okay, in this video, I want to go over exercises in chapter 5 just to make sure you're getting it. Um, okay, so exercise 5.1. The question is identify any of the rhetorical devices you find in the following from the previous section of the text. And we're interested in euphemisms, dysphemisms, Weaslers, and downplayers. Not every example may contain such a device. Okay, so this exercise is intended to test our knowledge of euphemisms, dysphemisms, Weaslers, and downplayers. And let me go to the recap and just read the definition of those so it will be, before our mind. Euphemisms seek to mute the disagreeable aspects of something or to emphasize its agreeable aspects. Okay, that's a euphemism. Like often we will say, instead of somebody, he died, we'll say he passed away. That's the reason is because we are muting the disagreeable aspects of referring to death. We'll say he passed away instead of died. That's a euphemism. A dysphemism seeks to emphasize the disagreeable aspects of something. Weasler words are phrases protect a claim by weakening it, and downplayers are techniques for toning down the importance of something. Okay, so anyway, if you read the book, you should know what these mean. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay, so exercise 5.1. We'll go over the examples. You say you are in love with Oscar, but are you sure he's right for you? Isn't he a little too mature for you? Okay, so what rhetorical device is being used there? Okay, well, think about it for a second. The answer is we've got four choices: dysphemism, Weaslер, downplayer, euphemism. And the answer here obviously is euphemism. And if you're going to say euphemism, you have to be able to explain why. You have to be able to point to a specific word or phrase in the passage. And the word here is mature. Actually, Oscar is a lot older, so he's actually too old for the person. But instead of saying, isn't he too old for you, they say, isn't he too mature for you? Because that's less negative, less offensive, I guess. Isn't he a little too mature for you? Okay, so number one is euphemism. Persuasion is the attempt to win somebody to one's point of view, and as the book says, rhetoric is, the book defines rhetoric. Let's see, let me go over so I read it exactly the way the book defines it. It's in chapter 5. So the book, this is from page 170. Rhetoric seeks to persuade through the emotive power of language. Okay, number two. He was at the bar for 2 hours, officer, but I know he had only 4 drinks during the time. So what rhetorical device is being used there? Well, the word is going to be only. It's a downplayer. Only is a downplayer, making it seem less important, less significant. Somebody could have said he had so many drinks that to make it seem like 4 drinks is a lot, but this is only 4 drinks. What's the big deal? He was at the bar for 2 hours, officer, but I know he had only 4 drinks during the time, making it sound like it's no big deal. It downplays the the number of drinks he had, or the importance of them, those drinks. Downplayers, for toning down the importance of something. Okay, so 2 is a downplayer. The key, number 3, this is exercise 5.1. The key principle is, quote, responsible energy exploration, unquote. And remember, it's not drilling for oil, it's responsible energy exploration. And what is that? That would be, instead of saying it's drilling for oil, evokes images of harming the environment. But responsible energy exploration, nobody's being harmed, it's responsible. That's a euphemism. It's not referring to what is more serious, more offensive. It's making it seem no big deal. So that's a euphemism. Responsible energy exploration instead of oil drilling. Okay. So basically, again, we're dealing with 4 different rhetorical devices. And your book also refers to them as slanters. So just remember that terminology. Slanters or rhetorical devices refer to the same thing. And basically, they seek to persuade through the rhetorical or emotive meaning. So now we'll go to number 4. Of course, it may be that Roethlisberger didn't even commit the assaults he was accused of. Okay, so what's the problem? What rhetorical devices there is being used there? Of course, it may be. It doesn't say it is definitely, right? So maybe it's a Weasler. Because a Weasler, let me read exactly how the book puts it so I get it. Weaslers are words or phrases that protect a claim by weakening it. So when you say something may be the case, you're weakening your claim. You're not saying it is the case. So there's always a way to get out of it, to be not, you can't be held responsible for being wrong because you didn't say it was definitely that case. You said it may be. Of course, it may be that Roethlisberger didn't even commit the assaults he was accused of. So that's a Weasler. If you take if you buy some aspirin and it says in small print, taking this aspirin may cure your headache. May is a Weasler. You can't, let's say you spend some money and buy some aspirin, and then you sue the company because it said it's going to cure your headache, and you took them and didn't help. Well, the company can't. You can't say, the company can always say, we didn't say it will cure your headache. We said it may cure your headache. So that basically it weakens their claim. So may is a Weasler word. So number 4 is a Weasler. 5, try the Neutron diet for just 4 weeks, and you can lose as many as 20 pounds. Can is a Weasel word. It's like may. It's not, they're not, when you look at this, you think, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, right? But it doesn't say that. It says you can lose as many as 20 pounds. And also as many as is also Weasler, because it doesn't, you focus on the 20 pounds. Oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. It doesn't say you're going to lose 20 pounds. It doesn't even say you will lose, as you can lose. And it doesn't say you can lose 20 pounds, as many as 20 pounds. So 20 is the maximum. So if you lose 1 pound, they could say, well, we didn't say you were going to lose 20. We said as many as 20. So number 5 is a Weasler. Okay, number 6, Republicans stand on principle against the irresponsible plans put forth by environmental extremists to wreck the environment. Okay, in this case here, there are no rhetorical devices. I mean, They mean exactly what they say. Republicans stand on principle against the irresponsible plans. That's not a Weasler word. That's not a. That's just that's what they mean. Irresponsible plans to put forth by Republicans stand on principle against the irresponsible plans put forth by environmental extremists. Okay, extremists is not a a dysphemism. It seems to me neutral. I mean, you could I guess uh, environmental extremes. You could I guess see that as a dysphemism. And it's in this case, some of these are kind of iffy. I don't take it. I take it. If they said if it said environmental wackos, that would be a dysphemism. But environmental extremists, I wouldn't take that as a dysphemism. But somebody might. So in some of these cases, it could go either way. To wreck the environment, wreck the economy. That wreck is not a. It's not a rhetorical device. That's what they mean. Anyway, so in this case here, wreck or harm, these seem to be just neutral words. Extremists you might take that either way. I would, it's not really not important to just the main thing is to realize what's going on. What if you got rid of extremists? What would you say? By environmental critics, yeah. So extremists, you might take that kind of as moving in the direction of the dysphemism, but it's not really important. There are going to be. It's like when does day become night? There's a transition period. So some of these are not going to be there. Some of these cases you might disagree about. So don't worry about that. 7. Despite what many politicians continue to say, the success of the surge strategy put in place by Generals Petraeus and Odernio is undeniable. Okay, so what's the problem here? Despite what many politicians... Oh, okay. A Weasler downplayer. Oh, it's a downplayer. The reason is the word despite what many politicians continue to say. So by saying despite what many politicians continue to say, you're downplaying the importance of what they are saying. You're saying, yeah, they are saying it, but despite that, it's not really that important. So this is a downplayer, and the word despite indicates that. Despite what many politicians continue to say, the success of the surge strategy put in place by General Petraeus and Odernio is undeniable. Okay, so it's downplaying what the politicians said. Okay, so that would be a downplayer. 8, Obama and his Democrat Communist Party, that's a dysphemism, Democrat Communist Party, have bloated the already bloated federal bureaucracy by 25% in 1 year. Anyway, the reference to the Democrat Communist Party is a dysphemism. Because instead of just calling them Democrats, you call them communists. And in this country, communist has a very negative connotation. Number 9, Charles, be sure to tinkle before we leave. Tinkle is a euphemism for pee, okay? So that's a euphemism. You don't want to refer to the bodily function, so you say tinkle. Okay, that's a euphemism. And 10, oh, that's just my brother. That's just my brother. That downplays it's just my brother. Downplays his importance as a person, right? So that's a downplayer. Okay, that's exercise 5.1. I'm going over these just because this chapter basically deals with rhetorical devices, and you really need to go over each one and make sure you really understand it. It's not that difficult, but it doesn't hurt to go over them. And I'll continue in other videos going over all the other exercises.